Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday morning, the 7th of April. And we're sticking with the Sebastian Rogers case today. But if you can hear chewing sounds and cracking sounds in the background, it's Cassie. She's got a bone. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about the search. There was a number of searchers out there yesterday in the vicinity of Sebastian Rogers' home. So, we're going to talk about that. And at the end, I'm going to give you my top 3 theories of what happened to Sebastian. Just my opinion, that's all, nothing more. But based on what we know so far. Let's go. Okay, let's start with some map time here. So, this is Stafford Court. This is where Sebastian lives. This is the construction area that there was a dog hit, and then we're told there wasn't a dog hit. I did a video recently explaining what I think went on there. The answer to the Sebastian Rogers dog found a hit and then dog didn't find a hit for Sebastian's scent. I speculated in that video that Max, one of the first responders, who was a dog with Sumner County EMS, wasn't tracking specifically Sebastian's scent. He was just looking for any human scent out there. And he found one. But when later dogs, who were presumably scent specific for Sebastian's scent, they did not find a scent. So it's been concluded that that initial hit was a false positive because the dog was following someone else's scent. Okay, so this is the construction site. It looks a little bit different now because a lot of these houses are now completed. This area here, which is green on the map, this map is a few months old, is now construction. Then we've got the church and we've got Sebastian's school, which is Beach High School. And then to the east of the high school, there's a creek called Drake's Creek. And it runs all the way down south for about 5 miles. And eventually it joins the Cumberland River. It joins it here, I think. Maybe here, but anyway, it joins the Cumberland River. All right, so that's the orientation. Now, there was a number of private searchers out there yesterday ahead of the vigil, which was held at 6 p.m. Yeah, it's so sad. Anyway, this is Narked Divers. It's on Brothers Underwater Recovery Channel. And he was out there walking. I'll play you a little bit of this. He was out there walking this pond. Walking the pond. Why was he walking the pond when it's so shallow? Well, because it was this pond that was drained by law enforcement. So this is on the edge of the construction area. Now, if we just pause this for a second and talk about another video that I made a few days ago. Important new details in the search for Sebastian Rogers. Because I speculated in this video that we've all been talking about the wrong pond. Because we know that law enforcement drained one of the ponds in the area of the construction site because of that initial dog hit. And if you listen to the dispatch audio, Max dove straight into the water.
It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? You shouldn't have any shoes on. Hey, this is all dry, hard packed. I do have some footprints over here. Right there where you're standing? Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining pond. No shoes, just footprints? My shoes, but Max went straight into the pond. Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water.
But a few days ago, I got this message from one of the locals. Michelle, I'm local here where Sebastian went missing, and I've created a missing map for him. Sat down with Seth and went over his map. The dispatch call with prints he stated is by beach. The ponding construction site is not where LE found prints. It was behind Willow Bend, close to the high school. So the pond in the construction site in front of Parkenham hasn't been drained. That's not where the prints were. 2 different ponds, just want to be clear. So I speculated in this video that we've all been talking about the wrong pond. However, when they pan around, it appears that this pond is indeed in what looks on the map to be construction. He's walking this because this is the pond that was drained, but it's got very deep mud. So the idea was for him to just walk the pond, like up and down, up and down, up and down, and then search in any areas with his hands, any areas of deep mud, because there might be like holes in there covered by mud that were missed, that Sebastian walked into the pond, thought it was fun, and then slipped down into a hole and couldn't get out. I mean, God forbid, but yeah, that's what they were doing. He walked the entire pond backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, because it's the only way to search. They did find something, but it wasn't relevant. But they were live streaming. Brothers Underwater people were live streaming, but when they found something, they turned the camera away. That's how you do live streams when it's a live search. You're just responsible about it. But what they found wasn't relevant to the case. So, look, he's stretching down, searching the mud. I mean, just a thankless task, but a very important one. Very important one. But when you pan round, right at the end, they pan round. Here we go. And there's something, a structure, a house or something there. But if you pan round here, these are the new houses. So the construction site, and there's Rex. Rex is a cadaver dog. He can do live scenting, but he was there in his role as a cadaver dog yesterday. We'll talk about that shortly. Where this was looks to be here, with these houses now completed. I don't know though. There might be another pond, because they did say there was 3 ponds. Because this is so outdated, I speculated as to whether it was this pond that they drained. I mean, if construction's gone over here, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Need an up-to-date map. That's what we need. We need an up-to-date map. So, anyway, whichever pond it was, Narc the diver, I think his name's Trey, walked that pond. So that pond is clear. And they were there all day yesterday, and then they're going to be there all day today, clearing a number of different ponds. They've got all the relevant permissions, different ponds and different water courses to be thorough to clear them. The other waterway that is of interest, and there's a number of people who follow my coverage of this case who keep saying, have they checked Drake's Creek? This is Drake's Creek, right? So it runs south, like it's going downstream south, just to the east of Sebastian's school. And I said that on the map, it's difficult to tell how deep it is or shallow it is. Now, it looks shallow. It looks like it's very rocky in places. And a body, you know, if a body was thrown in or someone fell in, that body would get stuck on these very shallow areas. So JLR was actually out there as well, like separate to Not Divers and Brothers Underwater. And he was at the creek near the Texas Roadhouse, and he was speculating on if Katie murdered Sebastian and threw his body in the creek near the Texas Roadhouse. I don't believe that happened, but it was just a speculation on JLR's part. So this is him walking the banks nearby to the Texas Roadhouse. You can see how shallow this is. He estimated it to be like 1.5 feet or something. But there's areas which maybe get to 2 feet, but there's areas which are really, really shallow because it's very rocky. So it kind of sets my mind at rest seeing this creek. Yes, it's got a current, but as long as the entire length of this creek has been searched, like it can all be searched by air, because there's nowhere for a body to hide, because it's got a rocky bottom by the looks of things. Now, there might be areas of sand and silt that could hide a body. There is that. I mean, I'd like, ideally, in an ideal world, I'd like somebody to walk in the creek for the entire kind of route from Sebastian's school down to where it joins the Cumberland River, as long as obviously it was safe to do so. But it's very shallow, at least in the area of where the Texas Roadhouse is, and also near where Sebastian's school is. If Sebastian did fall in this creek, the chances are he wouldn't drown. He'd just be able to get up and get out, unless there's any kind of hidden holes or anything in there, which is possible. But a body would get stuck. That's my viewpoint of it. So JLR was out there, but also Brothers Underwater Rescue were also out there. Narc Divers wasn't with them for this particular walk, but this was walking the woodland by the side of Drake's Creek. They had Rex running around. He's a Belgian Malinois. Like I said, he's a scent dog, so he can track live scent, but he was there in the capacity of a cadaver dog. So he was out looking for anything of interest. It was interesting watching this walk. And no one bothered them. No one was out there threatening them. There's Rex. Looks like Rex is eating grass by the looks of things. But he was out there doing a job. So they were in the woodland and they were kind of walking the fields. There was a bunch of them out there, walking the hedgerows. And they didn't find anything. So, with Rex running around, this area's been extensively searched by law enforcement. So, you could basically say this area, whichever area this is cleared, I think. And again, there's not many places for a body to be hidden. It's not really, really thick woodland in this particular area. I mean, there are patches of thick woodland. So there they are near the creek. And you can see that it is very shallow. It was too shallow for them to put a boat in, anyway. But I would like somebody to walk this creek. You know, walk in the creek as much as you can. And then if it is deep in areas, walk by the bank. But that would be my ideal world. If I lived there, that's what I would be doing. I'd walk that length of that creek. That's what I would do. And because it's shallow, because the banks don't appear to be overgrown or anything, I think if somebody had put Sebastian in that creek, or he'd fallen in and couldn't get out for whatever reason, I think he would have been found with the amount of eyes on this area. That's just my opinion. So I want to rule out the creek, at least in those areas that have been searched. Now, the entire length, I can't rule out the entire length, but I'm glad that I've seen it. I've seen that creek in two different locations. I feel more confident to say Sebastian isn't in that creek, although I obviously can't rule it out completely. All right, so finally, let me tell you my top 3 theories. My first theory, my number 1 theory, is that Sebastian was lured away. We've learnt from Seth, Sebastian's biological father, that actually Katie and Chris aren't the helicopter parents that they've led us to believe. And I want to do a live stream, or live streams, multiple, going through all of the early interviews and comparing them with the later interviews, but it's a mammoth task. It's a mammoth task, given the number of interviews there's been. So I'm still debating on whether that would be useful or not. I know Sleuth Mama's done it. She's gone through all the interviews, but it's taken her a long time to do it. So I'm debating, based on the fact that Sleuth Mum's already done certainly all the earlier interviews. I'm debating whether it's useful for me to do that. Anyhow, I digress. So my number 1 theory is that he was lured away. Either by getting online, even if his mother and his stepdad thought they'd locked his phone down and his switch down, he's got online somehow. But based on what Seth said in an interview with the Pascal show, Sebastian can behave inappropriately. In Seth's words, get his wiener out in men's bathrooms and ask people to show him theirs. I mean, it's very inappropriate, but He's 15, he's got raging hormones, but he's got the mentality of like a 9 or a 10-year-old. So he doesn't know how to cope with the feelings that he has. And also, he's got this trauma history. He was essayed by an older child when he was 8. It's concerning. I speculated in the live stream that I did yesterday, this one, Sebastian Rogers All the Latest Info, that he met someone. Like, he met someone in real life. They judged his inappropriate kind of juvenile behaviour as a come-on, and they arranged to meet him, and Sebastian went along with it, and he got out of the house because he was meeting someone. People did say in my comments this live stream after, like people who watched the replay, said, well, a strange number would be on Sebastian's phone if that person gave him a number to call. Yes, it would, but if that person used a burner phone, they can't trace it. They can't trace it. They don't know what that number relates to. And it may be that that person met Sebastian and didn't give him a number, just gave him, like, a place to go. I don't know. It's just a speculation, but I feel quite strongly about that theory. I do. And Sebastian got himself into a situation that he couldn't handle. My number 2 theory is that Sebastian ran away. Now, I know that's not a popular theory. People say, why would he run away without shoes and a coat? We don't know he didn't have shoes. We don't know that. We've only heard from Katie that all his shoes were accounted for. But what if he had a pair of shoes that she didn't know about? What if, shoes or no shoes, he was so distressed, he fled? He thought he was in trouble and he fled. And I know Seth says that if he'd fled from a distressing situation at home, you know, he just had enough and he fled, that he'd have turned up at Seth's house. Maybe he tried and he's not got there. Or maybe he didn't because he thought he'd be in trouble with Seth as well. And my 3rd theory, and this is kind of quite low down, is foul play. He's actually been murdered or disappeared by family members. Now, I know that's very common theory that people believe, and I can't discount it, but it's very low down on my theory list relative to the first 2, the lured away and the ran away. It's low down, but I can't discount it, so I'm keeping it there. I'm not implicating people on this channel that I've got absolutely no evidence that they've done anything, but I'm keeping it there. It's on the table still. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, folks.